So we've got another chance to reach a cup final today. We've got Manchester United in the FA Cup semi-final. Win it today and we do get a second final and a third final in the past 2 years. Lose it and it doesn't matter too much because we've already won one cup competition this season. Not to brag or anything, but we are the champions. Hello and welcome back to the Lincoln Loco today. 2 games for you today. Chelsea away from home and then Manchester United in the FA Cup. I know at the start of last episode I said we'd only show you the FA Cup game if we won it. But then realised if I showed the FA Cup game, you'd then know that I'd won it and what's the point in watching it. So we're just going to go into it blind. We don't know what's going to happen. We'll just have one extra episode this season. I know it's been slightly longer this season, but it's been a good season, I reckon. We're looking at our highest ever league finish. We're looking at Euro Cup next year after we won the League Cup. We're looking at a potential FA Cup final as well. It's been a pretty good season for us. Since you were last here then, we've only played the one game and we lost 1-0 to Crystal Palace. They had a man sent off for 70 minutes, so it was a real poor display from us. Everyone, defence played pretty well, to be fair. They only had 2 shots in the whole game. We had about 15, 14 or so. Couldn't do anything with them. So it was a real poor display from our attackers, at least. The defenders didn't have to do much, but when they did have to do something, they failed 50% of the time, actually, because they had 2 shots and they scored 1 of them. So 50% fail from the defence, actually. Benteke on a 7.1, he's lucky. He's very lucky. In terms of the league table, then, it does mean that Swansea jump ahead of us again into 7th place. We're back into 8th. Swansea lost the game to Chelsea, the game against Chelsea, which they lost, but then they won their game in hand against us. So they do go 2 points ahead of us now, which is unfortunate, but we're still in that top 10. Tottenham potentially could overtake us. They've got a game in hand, which will narrow the gap to 2 points, and they're arguably a better side than us anyway, so they may jump ahead of us, but we're not going to drop below 10th, I don't think. I think Southampton are too far away for them to try and mount a challenge on us. So I think we're sort of looking to be competing between 7th and 9th at the moment. Chelsea are too far away from us, of course. They're 9 points ahead with 4 games left. We're not catching them unless they really disastrously fall from grace. Same with Man City. So I think 7th, 8th or 9th is where we're going to finish this season. So the Chelsea game comes at first in the league. Of course, if we win it, it does lower that gap towards them, but if we don't beat them, then there's not a chance that we're going to take them over in the league. So today, if we want to finish as high as possible, a win is necessary, with Reynolds starting in goal, hopefully going to keep a clean sheet. Masevic, Patino, Benteke and Johnson start as that back line. Coyle, Jalapeno and Pandolfi start in the middle, with Gomez and Lacasic making a return on that right hand side. And Hammer Time starts up front. Not scored for 2 or 3 games actually, which is poor by his standards. Not scoring for 2 or 3 games for any normal striker, actually it probably isn't too bad, but for Hammer Time, it's disastrous. And kick-off is upon us. We're kicking off here at Stamford Bridge. We've already beaten Chelsea twice this season, once in the league, once in the last round of the FA Cup, and we've scored 3 goals against them both those times. So hopefully we continue that form and score 3 goals against them today. That'd be very nice. I can imagine them scoring 4 against us though if we score 3. I mean, that would really be a bit of a sour note. But they've not managed to beat us yet this season, which is a good stat to have at least, but of course there's always time for that to change and we can't rely on the stats too much like that. But we're coming forward now with the ball. As I say that, we get tackled and Chelsea have a chance to come forward now actually instead. But the clearance of the goalkeeper is not the best, and Johnson has a chance to collect the ball, plays it in towards Pandolfi. Pandolfi through to Hammer Time on the edge of the area into Gomez, and Gomez somehow slots that past the goalkeeper at the near post. Don't know how the goalkeeper didn't keep it out, don't know how Gomez scored it, but we have scored it. So 1-0 us. Chelsea looking to reply pretty instantly though as they come forward from the throw-in now. They're coming forward, Linity on the ball, Iwobi gets it back and Montoya is through, gets round, and Iwobi is there to somehow slot it in. I'm not sure how it got to him because no one's got the assist. I think Patino may have made the tackle and it just fell into the path of Iwobi, and Iwobi once again scores against us. I think he scored against us every game we've played against them this season, I think. He's a real danger man actually, but hopefully we can nullify him later on in the game with some slightly better defensive performances. They've had a throw-in from basically the same place this time. They've put it out to the right-hand side. Their right-hand sided man comes in, puts it into Iwobi, and Iwobi just past the post again. Clearly didn't make much of an impression at Arsenal, but Chelsea seems to absolutely adore him. So he seems to be a bit of a danger man, especially against us. Maybe we're his bogey team. Maybe he never scores goals. It's just against us that he scores goals. As Zuma's on the ball once again. And quite a highlight-heavy first opening half hour or so as Patino makes a clearance. And Hammer Time can get on the end of it. We know what he can do in these kind of situations. This time he didn't put it in the back of a net, but he made a good stab of it at least. The goalkeeper forced to make a decent save. Lacasic's got a corner now coming in. Lacasic still very controversial, Lacasic in the comment section. Every episode with someone saying let's sell him and someone saying let's not sell him, and people getting very heated about it. So I think we'll just play it by ear with Lacasic. Of course, I'm said last episode that I'm going to look to bring someone else in who's better next season to try and replace him a little bit, trying to motivate him a little bit. He's been very poor this season, really, in the grand scheme of things. People saying only get someone in if they're massively better than him and things like that. So people do love Lacasic, and of course I love him too. He's one of our own. He's the only guy, actually, youth prospect that's made it into the first team so far. There's one or two guys coming through. Hall is one of those guys who'll be coming through. Dale Stainsbury came in at the same time as Lacasic, but he's never really got off the ground. He never really got into the first team because we had Brad Yeo on that left-hand side, and of course Brad Yeo was going to play. And then, of course, he's been on loan and not really impressed on loan and not developed like Lacasic has. So it's been difficult as somehow they've just scored a goal. It was a bit of a goal line scramble there. I'm really not sure what happened. I wasn't even watching, if I'm being honest with you there. So make of that what you will if you watched it. But we've gone 2-1 down now. I mean, as the second half goes on, no one has played particularly well apart from Gomez, who's on a 7. But even a 7 isn't that really impressive. We look to make some changes now, I think. Lacasic, once again, being a candidate to be substituted straight away. I hate to say it, but he's been so crap this season. He's been really, really poor. We'll bring on Diaz for Jalapeno, make him more of an advanced playmaker, just to try and get some sort of extra dynamic into the attack. We need an extra dynamic up there. We're down on the stats, we're down on the score, so hopefully Diaz can come on and change the game slightly, but I don't hold out much hope, really. Corner now for us, though, as Gomez puts it in on the 70-minute mark. Cleared away there by the first man, and Bonaventura can't get onto it. Masovic makes a decent challenge there, and Vieira coming forward, plays it into Gomez. Gomez into Hammer Time at the near post, and Hammer Time is somehow not put in the back of a net. Should have been easy, but he's somehow fluffed it up. I think we'll make one more change. Pandolfi will come off for Perrier, because he's looking a bit tired, not playing the best. Perrier, slightly more suited to that box-to-box midfielder role, although we are training Pandolfi to become better in the box-to-box midfielder role, because I sort of see him as being the better footballer in general. Perrier makes a decent pass towards Gomez, but Gomez doesn't do much with it. Should have put it across to Hammer Time, I think, really, but got a bit selfish. Vieira on the ball now on the edge of the area. Could he save us? He can't quite save us yet. His shot was decent, but the goalkeeper had some good positioning there to make a decent save. He's been on form, to be fair, their goalkeeper, Vodisek. It's an unusual name. I'm not sure where he's from, obviously. Of course, where he's from, it's probably not an unusual name, is it? But, you know, you make these judgments sometimes, and you've got to stick by him, as Iwobi scores a third. Well, I'm gonna blame this loss on me not being very well. You can probably hear it in my voice, actually. There's a bit of a cold in my voice, as they've got to score a fourth. Jeez. Well, I did prophesise. That's the wrong word, isn't it? I don't say prophesise. I did say that they were going to get 4 goals today. I said we're going to get 3 ourselves, but I suppose part of that guess was that Chelsea would get 4, and I'm half right. Unfortunately, it was the wrong half. Only 3 days off before the Man United game. Not a lot of time, that actually. I would have liked a little bit more time. Our players are going to be dead tired for the game. Man United didn't play on Wednesday. We had to play on Wednesday because Chelsea, I think, are probably still in a continental competition, maybe, so we had to play early. What is good, though, is that United are second in the table now. Arsenal have overtaken them, so perhaps there will be an end to their run, actually. That would be quite good. Obviously, our loss keeps us in 8th, but Tottenham, 2 games in hand, could jump ahead of us as well if they win their 2 games in hand on us, obviously. So we could drop down to 9th before the end of the season, which is a little bit worrying. I feel like something has got to change in the side after that Chelsea game, but I don't know what, really. I think what we'll do is we'll bring Facundo Vieira on for Lacasic. We'll bring on Perrier for Pandolfi as well. Just see if that makes any sort of difference. It's only 2 players, obviously, but the team we had out before is probably our strongest lineup, so arguably we weakened it slightly. But those 2 didn't play very well in those last games, so they should probably subbed out for this game. Right, kickoff is upon us here at Wembley. We're playing in the black, despite up here staying with the home side, which I find disconcerting. I'd rather be in the red kit than the black kit, just because who doesn't like red and white stripes? Interestingly, Brad Yeo does start for Manchester United, of course. We'll try and sign him over summer once again. Obviously, we have to put a token bid in for him every single transfer window now, just in case we could possibly get him. Although last time we tried to get him, they did. Who's calling me? I swear the only time I ever get phone calls is when I'm recording. But I mean, I can't remember what I was talking about. Brad Yeo, probably. We made a bid for him. Last time we did, Man United said, give us 101 million, then you can have him. So we'll try again, try and lower that £101 million asking price. But I think it's going to be a good few seasons before we get him again and have that kind of money to spend, as Hammer Time with the opening highlight of the game only 23 minutes into it, so it's been a long time coming. At a pretty oh my goodness gracious, he's injured. I mean, fortunately, we're right at the end of the season now, so if it's bad, he'll be out for summer and it won't matter too much. But I mean, I'm not hoping it's just like concussion or something. I've not checked what it is. We'll bring Jesus Jimenez on, or Jesus Jimenez as a target man on attack. That's what he likes to be. Hammer time. What? It's a potential groin injury. That doesn't sound good to me. Oh, that's... I feel like I need to Google groin injuries, because if we lose hammer time for a long time, that could be a real bad thing there. I mean, the first thing that comes up in groin injury is groin strain, which doesn't seem that serious. So I hope that's what it is. Apparently a bad groin injury can take up to 6 weeks. So I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried now about hammer time. But watch him come back now and say he's out for like 3, 4, 5 months or something ridiculous like that. Half time, it's 0-0. We'll just say calmly, if we can get a goal, makes us favourites. And only Angel Gomez looks motivated by that. So we've only got 2/3 of the Holy Trinity up right now. We'll bring on the final third of the Holy Trinity of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Polish Man. We'll bring him on in a few minutes' time, I suppose, for Facundo Vieira, who's played equally as poorly as Lukasic normally does. And in fact, I think we'll make the change now, actually, because he's been playing that badly. So the Holy Trinity is united now, and hopefully they'll combine and score a goal, and it'll be in the name of Jesus or something like that. I don't know. I hope this isn't offensive either to people out there who are religious and Christians and things like that. If it is, then I am sorry, obviously, but it's just funny, isn't it? It's funny. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Polish Man. Who doesn't laugh at that? Me right now, obviously, because I've already laughed at it enough, but most people should be laughing at it right now. So the only highlight of the game so far, as apart from this one that literally popped up, as I say, the only highlight of the game so far was hammer time shot going over the bar. The second highlight of the game is Romelu Lukaku getting on the end of a Brad Yeo cross. Brad Yeo once again combining with a striker to get another assist. He's the assist genius. And out of nowhere, Man United have got ahead of us, despite the game being very equal, actually. They've now got another chance, actually, and their man on this right-hand side, unmarked completely, puts the ball in again. Romelu Lukaku, out of nowhere, just scores it again. And literally within 5 minutes, we've gone from potentially reaching an FA Cup final to be absolutely convincingly knocked out. What makes it more annoying is that it still says Jose Mourinho is my rival, so I still feel like I have to beat Man United every single time just for the sake of him being my rival. Brad Yeo on the ball once again now, puts it in, but Coyle is there to make a nice interception, and Benteke can clear it up to Jesus Jimenez or Jesus Jimenez. It's Jesus. I'm not going to say Jesus. I'm always going to say Jesus. Gomez coming forward with a shot from distance, and that is the best highlight we've had all game apparently, and that was absolutely woeful. Brad Yeo with the corner, Pogba on the head. 3-0. Both of these games today, I don't think we deserve to have lost by such big margins. We've just been unlucky. Defensively, just fallen asleep at the end of the games, and we've just been unlucky, basically. That's what I'm going to say to the boys. We're obviously quite tired. We've had a busy season this year. It's only going to get busier next year. We've got a small squad as it is right now, so we need to try and expand on it next season to try and make it a bit bigger, get a bit more rotation and a bit more consistency in the quality of our players and things like that. So it's been a good season, obviously. We haven't quite reached a second final this season, but I do this every time. I just automatically go to hand it to my assistant manager. He did it last game as well, and he says, we're the underdogs. You gave your best out there. We lost 3-0. Of course I'm not going to be happy with that team talk. Bloody Phil Neville, you idiot. Everyone switched off and confused. Bloody fantastic. I'll try and mitigate it now by doing individual team talk, saying, I'm not happy with your performance out there. It's made things worse. Thank God it's the end of the season, and we've already got qualification for like Europa League, and we shouldn't be able to finish below 10th now, so we should get that top half finish that we wanted. There we go, Hammer Time out for 5 to 6 weeks, so he's out for the rest of the season, but like Google said, only 6 weeks, so if you're worried about injuries, just Google them. Right, next episode then, it's only going to be the Norwich game. We'll do the Norwich game, then we'll talk about next season, basically, and what we're going to do planning next season-wise. Tough games against West Ham and Stoke in the meantime, though, and of course, Norwich seems to be a bit of a bogey team for us. We lost to them earlier on the season 4-2. We lost to them last season in the FA Cup when they were in the Championship, so don't expect much from this, to be fair. Thank you very much for watching today's episode. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you do drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, of course, and I will see you next time for some more Lincoln Loco.